Take it there, who gon' take it there, who gon' take it there, who gon' take it there? Electricity, 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 electricity. You know what's in the air, you know what's in the air, you know what's in the air, you know what's in the air. It's possibility, it's possibility, it's possibility, it's possibility.
So something I wanted to cover real quick is Sam Cedar and the Majority Report, including Emma Vigeland and really just everybody on the Majority Report, seem to have a field day with some recent comments that TYT made about Larry David's op-ed about Bill Maher. So many layers to this going on here, okay? This is like level 5 or 6 of commentary that I'm doing here. But basically, Bill Maher had a dinner with Trump. It was a big deal. Everybody's like, what the fuck are you doing? Bill Maher feels that being civil with Trump is the right way to do it. There's a lot of these guys who seem like they have been waiting to give up on fighting for progressive causes for a while now. Cenk is one of them. So it's not that surprising that Cenk is arguing in favor of this. And but we'll get to that in a minute. Larry David wrote an op-ed called My Dinner with Adolf, where he essentially satirizes Bill Maher's perspective on having a dinner with Trump. And he basically is saying that, you know, by having that dinner and by the way Bill Maher's been talking about it, he is normalizing Trump in a way that would be akin to having a dinner, being friendly with the likes of Adolf Hitler as a way to normalize him to a large amount of people. Not that he really needed that. He had plenty of control over the media, and I don't think most Germans had that negative of a perspective on Hitler, at least not for a while. But that's aside from the point. The point is that Larry David was trying to satirize this idea that capitulating to Trump, humanizing Trump, is the right thing to do right now just because he won. And it's essentially akin to giving up, and it's compromising on your beliefs in a way that essentially contradicts the entire cause. And Bill Maher, for better or worse, you know, not that many years ago, he was on the opposite end of this, where he was making statements like, you know, talking about how you can personally have a nice dinner with Trump or whatever is completely immaterial. And who cares about that? Because it's about the politics of it, and it's about what Trump is doing to people and what the consequences of his presidency are. And so if you focus on the fact that he's a nice guy and he's funny and whatever, and those are the things that Bill Maher was saying about him, you're essentially distracting people from the reality of Trump's policies. And so I think Bill Maher's doing this because he wants, he wants to maintain his status, and he also wants to feel rebellious. And for whatever reason, even with Democrats completely out of power and Republicans completely in power, completely controlling all three branches of government, for some reason there's these guys, whether it be, it's a lot of people in the comedy world who feel that the only way that they can remain rebellious truth tellers is by cozying up with the right wing. Even though the right wing is completely dominating the power structure of this country right now, they're also aggressively censoring people who disagree with the official opinion of the administration. And that's not going to stop at Palestine, by the way. They are going to, it's definitely going to expand to anybody who criticizes Trump. Already people have not been allowed into the country, not been given visas, or been allowed to return to the country because they have criticized Trump publicly. So it's not going to be long before we move on to that. And so Bill Maher is probably trying to protect himself from that. And honestly, a lot of these guys that are doing that, some people have speculated that that's Cenk's thought on this as well, is he wants to cozy up with the right wing because he is an outlet that has done a lot of advocacy for Palestine. And so if they're going to start going after media operations for that, TYT could definitely come under target for that. And so it's possible that that's, at least maybe even on a subconscious level, that is the calculation there, that if Cenk portrays himself as more friendly to the right wing, more friendly to this current iteration of the Trump movement, then that will spare him from, I don't know, being deported, having his media operation targeted or shut down. And Bill Maher, I would say, is more likely to be consciously thinking that way, although I wouldn't put it past either of them. But Bill Maher just seems entirely cynical at this point. Almost everything that I hear from Bill Maher at this point is attacking the left and people that he feels are too radical, people that he feels are too mean to the right wing. And so that is where it seems like TYT and Bill Maher are in complete agreement that continuing to demonize Trump and the Trump administration and Trump supporters is a lost cause, and that the only thing that we can do is try to build bridges with these people. And while I can see the logic there, there's numerous flaws in it. And I think what it really comes down to is they're trying to convince themselves that we're dealing with a different beast than we are actually dealing with. They're trying to convince themselves and their audiences that Trump and his administration can be reasoned with, essentially, and that this is about, they've been treated unfairly in the media, and that's why Trump and his people have behaved the way they have towards the media and in other ways. And so if the media treats them more nicely, they won't behave that way. And there's a lot of people in the media who think that. And, some of the bigger news companies like CBS, NBC, I think 60 Minutes just did a segment about how the person who runs 60 Minutes' operation just resigned because the leadership at, I think CBS is the one that runs that company, that runs 60 Minutes, they have been interfering in their coverage because they don't want to be viewed as too adversarial to the Trump administration. So what that means is that the slow chipping away at the media's integrity and the media's independence from the state, whatever semblance of it existed, has been successful. And Trump now has enough power and has enough of these people scared that they're more interested in capitulating to him than continuing to criticize him. And something else I want to note here before I play this clip of the majority report, just something I've been thinking about, is that Trump's polling is starting to look bad now. And that's because of his policies, direct result of his policies. And his first instinct is to say, we're going to investigate these pollsters. We're going to go after them. That's what he wants to do. And so what that tells me is that as public opinion sways against Trump and some of the familiar opposition to Trump starts to crop back up again, I do think that there was a sense in the media and maybe in some people not in the media that we have no choice but to give Trump a chance this time. And the media especially, I think, has been less critical of him in these first few months because they wanted to see, are things going to be different? And also they're scared. And I do think that there was a sense of maybe we didn't give Trump a fair shot from the beginning in the first administration, and so we should do that differently this time. Now, I don't think that's true, but I think Trump certainly perceives it that way. And I think that he has had a media environment that was much more favorable to him in these first 4 months, much more favorable. It's been night and day from how the first administration was. But now with these tariffs and these horrific deportations that Trump is doing now, deporting, 4 and 7-year-old children who are U.S. citizens and going after people's free speech, as well as, seemingly attempting to wreck the economy with tariffs. People recognize that this is bad policy. So the polling's getting bad. And what that tells me is that as the familiar pushback to Trump starts to come back, I think we're going to see Trump descend back into the mania that characterized his first term. And I'm not saying that that's been completely absent, but I'm saying that when Trump feels embattled, he is insane at a different level than what we've been seeing so far in this administration. His policies are certainly insane. His leadership style is insane. He's obviously a power-hungry dictator. But I think in the first term, I've mentioned that like the Russia investigation and other things that were like really pummeling him from the beginning of his first administration, I think that constrained him quite a bit. And he complains about it all the time, that he wasn't able to do the things that he wanted to do because of that. And I think that that's we're seeing the opposite of that now, where because the media is a little bit afraid, they're giving him more breathing room. And so he doesn't feel as embattled by them. But as these negative polls come out, as more negative stories come out, there was a story about Kash Patel and how he had like weird debts before he came into office. And, just scandals are going to start popping back up again because these guys are fucking sketchy creeps. And that was always the case. And so I think that we're going to both see the type of insanity that we saw from Trump in the first term, which is bad because he's more powerful this time and more dangerous this time. But also, I think it might slow him down similarly to the way it did the first time. He may be distracted again with, if he's fighting against the media, then he doesn't have the ability to control the narrative in the way that he has been able to do more so in the past 4 months. So just something to think about, that, we got to prepare ourselves for what the next few months could look like and longer if Trump becomes the more embattled and insane version of himself. And people like Bill Maher, people like Cenk Uygur, because of the position that they've taken, they are basically, when that starts happening, they're going to be closer on Trump's side, and they're going to be the ones who are saying that the media is unfair to him. Either that, or they're going to have to risk their ass, which they've been trying to protect by being nice to Trump, by criticizing him. And they're going to cover these stories from the anti-Trump perspective, which is going to make them targets of the administration again, which means that all this bridge building was for absolutely fucking nothing. So that's the context here for what we're about to see in my mind. This is the Majority Report's criticism of TYT's reaction to Larry David criticizing Bill Maher. So they are saying that TYT acting like Larry David shouldn't have written that op-ed making fun of Bill Maher is ridiculous and capitulation. And they're essentially just making fun of them, which is, I think, very telling. So let's listen to this real quick.
For a comedian to use Hitler as a joke, oh my God. Oh, let's watch this.
My biggest issue is critics of Trump's need to come up with new material. Like the Hitler thing is getting a little played out, to be honest with you. Like that's such a tired, parallel to draw. And yeah, he was comparing Trump to Hitler. I'm not stupid. Like if you read the piece, that's clearly what he's doing here.
Yeah. I mean, even if it's an analogy to Hitler.
Yes.
and he's less criticizing Trump than he is criticizing Bill Maher for talking to Hitler, the equivalent of Hitler. But nevertheless, it is a Hitler reference. There's no question about that. So, I mean, Larry David's a super smart guy, so don't insult our intelligence. And don't be patronizing. If you're going to say something, say it. Right? Mm-hmm. And so, look.
Pause it. Wait, patronizing. Say it like, was it... Do these guys think that it was like unclear what Larry David was saying?
He's trying to be sneaky with the My Dinner with Adolf piece in the New York Times.
Bill Maher for talking to Hitler, the equivalent of Hitler. But nevertheless, it is a Hitler reference. There's no question about that. So, I mean, Larry David's a super smart guy, so don't insult our intelligence.
I'm sorry, it's a Hitler reference. The title has Hitler in it. Yeah.
Well, I think we picked up on it. That's evidence number one I would give, that it's a code reference.
It's a secret code.
Yeah.
And it's like he's insulting our intelligence by what? By doing it in comedy.
Honestly, maybe Cenk's just still smarting from the fact that Francesca Fiorentini put together that video with Curb Your Enthusiasm music in the background on the Gulags, right, where Cenk was laughing at the idea that there would be concentration camps for immigrants, and Francesca put that Curb music behind it, which was the reason that she was banned from TYT and all TYT shows. He seems to maybe have a bit of a Larry David problem.
So don't insult our intelligence.
Yeah.
And don't be patronizing. If you're going to say something, say it. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And so...
He said it.
Look, I just think that they're on the wrong track. And the thing that I keep going back to...
Who's the they here? Wait a second. Like
the left, like Larry David.
The left, Larry David. You know what this sounds like to me? Someone's desperately trying to get on to real time. That's what's going on here. I guarantee you.
You can go and look, and I remember these conversations. You can go back and look, and Cenk was always very upset that Bill never invited him on the show.
Okay, let's continue. Oh, I'm sure they're still pitching it.
Yep.
While they think they're on the moral high ground, folks like Larry David, they're all Hitler, don't talk to Hitler, etc. I think that they're being deeply counterproductive because by not
pause it. I should also tell you, like, they're all Hitler. I think he's being specific about a person. It's not like you're going out there and lobbying him to save, like, release prisoners or to stop the attack on Social Security. Like, what did Bill Maher lobby in his conversation? Like, I'm the one who actually got Donald Trump to try Carpaccio. I'm the one who, the reason why Donald Trump now, likes Carpaccio is because I got him to try it. We need to talk to each other.
I think that they're being deeply counterproductive because by not talking, by not trying to influence people, by not getting involved in the conversation, you're letting in his analogy, you're letting the brown shirts, the SS, the Gestapo run wild with no opposition. How does that help?
What?
At least Bill Maher went in there to try to help and try to push him in the right direction.
What?
What?
Where's the evidence of that?
Why didn't Bill Maher tell us about how he advocated for not cutting Medicaid or what? I really think that it's the bad idea for you to be, having your ICE people snatch people off the ground. No.
If only there was a historical example of what appeasement did to the Nazis that we could basically draw on.
I don't even think those people got dinner.
So, classic Majority Report style content here. They're basically just teasing and making fun of this perspective and trying to make it clear how ridiculous Cenk and Anna sound with what they're saying. And I mean, one thing that immediately jumps out about that TYT clip is that Anna is becoming increasingly insufferable. I mean, really insufferable, because she's not only taking the wrong position on this, but she's doing it in such a snarky way that it really, it just seems like there's absolutely no substance there, none at all to her perspective. This whole Hitler thing, it's so tired. It's tired. There's no analysis there. No accounting for the fact that Trump's movements as president very much mirror when Hitler came into power in Germany. It's very similar. You have to be slow to not realize that. And I think Anna recognizes that, she's trying to build a different business model for herself where it's more profitable for her to not take that perspective. And I also think she is just in a media bubble now where she thinks that it's hard hitting for her to take this snarky perspective. And that's the main thing that I've seen changing about Anna, is that as she goes in this right-wing direction, I think way more so than Cenk, but she also seems to be kind of dragging Cenk in that direction with her. Not saying that he's not doing it on his own as well, but I do think that part of the reason he's doing it is because of Anna. And, it just seems like she has less and less to say the further she goes in this direction, and it seems like what she views as hard-hitting commentary is becoming extremely annoying and substanceless. She did her little diss track, I called it, of the Majority Report, where she tries to call them out because they criticized her for downplaying Project 2025. So there's a pattern here. Majority Report criticized them for downplaying Project 2025. Anna responded to that. Majority Report is now making fun of them for downplaying Bill Maher having dinner with Trump. They're probably going to make some kind of response to that as well. But I thought it was interesting that when Anna made her video about the Majority Report, it wasn't a very good video. She didn't really have any good points to make. She didn't address the fact that she erroneously claimed that the Majority Report was taking ad money from Kamala Harris with absolutely zero evidence of that. And instead, she just played some clips of the Majority Report saying irreverent things, like things that are cool, honestly. Like one of them was a clip of Sam saying that he doesn't give a fuck about Mitt Romney voters. And she was like, this is the kind of person that people, and it's like, yes, that's exactly why people go to Sam Seder, is because he says shit like that. Like, what are you talking about? The fact that you view that as beyond the pale is exactly what is wrong with you now, because a couple years ago, you wouldn't have taken that same stance. So not only is she wrong and going in the wrong direction here, but it just seems like it's baseless. Like there's no meat on the bone of anything that she has to say at this point. And it really does feel like she thinks, because of the direction her career is going, that she just has to be snarky in that way, and she just has to come across as contrarian and insulting, and that is going to get her like the type of jobs that she wants. I do think she's still angling for some kind of Fox News position or something like that. It does seem like that would have happened already, so something is keeping her at TYT. But I don't know, when I see her making this type of commentary, and the way she goes about it, I don't see any difference between her and your average Fox News host. When she was talking to Megyn Kelly, she was talking like, oh, well, I wouldn't say I'm full MAGA, but, and it's quite insufferable. She's clearly aiming at a completely different audience now. And so I think she's beyond the pale, and I think Cenk is, honestly, too. And if I had to say the number one thing I notice about this is that Majority Report covering them negatively more consistently is a good canary in the coal mine for the fact that Cenk and Anna are like really traveling to the right at this point, and they're trafficking in right-wing talking points. Because even when Anna made her video about the Majority Report, they didn't respond. They didn't have anything to say about it, because what's the point? What's the point of responding? It wasn't a good video, and she didn't make any substantive points. So they're not here for, oh, let's just do back and forth drama and call each other grifters and get clicks over it. They are staying consistent with their mission, which is to point out people who are either right-wing grifters who are straight up lying, or people who are on the left, pretending to be on the left, who are moving in that right-wing grifter direction because they want to make more money, and they're lying to their audience as they're doing it. That's historically what they've done over the years. That's why Sam focused so much on Dave Rubin, Sam and Michael. That was their logic there. And they've done that consistently. Jimmy Dore as well. And so the fact that they're doing that with TYT now, I think shows that Sam, at least, recognizes, and certainly the producers of the Majority Report, recognize that they have become essentially right-wing grifters at this point. And I have tried to give them a lot of credit, but the more and more they do this right-wing capitulation and trying to play to civility at a time where these people are attacking the social contract. These people are attacking the Constitution, trying to revoke birthright citizenship. And Anna and Cenk are sitting here laughing off the idea that Larry David would compare Trump to Hitler. And it's just, at a certain point, we have to ask, like, what are these people offering us at all? And even in terms of if you wanted a more rightward perspective from left-leaning people, even then, there's really no substance to this. There's really none. And especially from Anna. Anna comes off as so vapid at this point that I really don't think she could possibly be trying to do anything other than get a job at a right-wing network, where that's all they would want from her, is for her to look good on camera and to say shocking and smarmy things in favor of the right wing. So that's what we're getting from TYT at this point. Majority Report recognizes that, and this is a moment where we have to decide, like, what is the approach here? Are we going to try, especially if you're talking to Trump? It's one thing to say, I want to talk to Trump voters, I want to talk to people who voted for Trump and try to convince them. That's fine. I mean, I think still it's a flawed strategy depending on how you do it, but it makes more sense. But trying to talk to Trump directly, you're just trying to court a relationship with him and making an excuse for that and trying to dismiss the work of a comedian who did a comedic piece of work, a satirical piece of work, making fun of that piece of work, that op-ed is going to survive this era and make more of a stamp on our culture than anything Bill Maher has said in the last 10 years. I mean, Larry David is actually doing something artistically powerful by writing that op-ed. And, all Bill Maher's trying to do is look like the smartest guy in the room and save his own skin. And Cenk and Anna think they have this genius theory of politics that separates them from the radical left. And they think, much like Kamala Harris thought in this election, that playing coy in that way is going to win them right-wing support. And they're going to be sadly mistaken in that effort. And I'm glad that Majority Report is not that stupid. Not only are they not stupid enough to do that, but they're smart enough to recognize that as it's happening and call it out for what it is. So good for them. That's why I like Sam Seder and the Majority Report more than TYT and always have. And yeah, at this point, I mean, they're so fucking obnoxious over there and so wrong and obnoxious at TYT that I really don't think they have much to offer any of us at this point. So that's my 2 cents. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. And if you really want to support, consider becoming a member. That's the best way to support this channel. I'm posting different kinds of exclusive content there, like podcasts that don't make it to the main page, book reviews, movie reviews. I'm also posting music there. If you like the beats that play in the back of these podcasts, all of that's posted there. I also have a new EP that's coming out later this week called Dead Internet Theory. That's going to be available everywhere on Wednesday, but it's available right now as members only content. So if you want to hear that early, go check it out and let me know if there's other stuff that you'd like to hear as members only content. We'll work some things out.